Welcome into the Big Z Sports Two-A-Day segment. This time we are out here in Strasburg, Ohio to talk about the Strasburg Tigers. Joe Geckler, Chris Kale. Big thanks to Morton Edenthal, certified public accountants, where it's all about relationships. And Chris, that's what we're doing out here for the Strasburg Tigers today, is building those relationships with new head coach Blake Campbell. And it's going to be a fun atmosphere. We're watching practice a little bit. He's got some good-looking kids out here. It's going to be fun to talk a little bit about the Strasburg Tigers coming off a season where they were 1-8 last year, 0-4. Like I mentioned, Blake Campbell, the new head coach, takes over for Curtis Metzger, who stepped away from the program back in late January, early February, and Blake takes over with a lot of experience.
Yeah, he does, and it's always good to be up here in Stras Vegas when you're covering the Tigers. In football, you know what you're going to get out of this team. You're going to get a running attack. They've got a lot of good athletes. They got a really good-looking gunslinger at quarterback coming in. This kid's 6'2", 208, Gage Moore, freshman, and he can get it done watching him here in practice, Joe.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. They got some nice-looking kids out here, some names that we will remember from last year, the last couple of years for the Tigers. Matthew Cox at running back. You're going to have Parker Edwards at wide receiver, Derek Rissler, and Caden Thomas as well for the Tigers offensively. They're going to try to get the ball around the field and have some fun out here offensively.
Yeah, and you've got Big Riefenschneider that's going to anchor
hold on.
both of them.
It's Riefenschneider. He corrected me when I was talking to Coach.
It is Riefenschneider, and he will be anchoring both lines.
He's a big boy. I want to get his name right.
Yes, absolutely. He's a big boy. And, if they can shore up the rush defense on this team, that's where it's at, right? The guys, other teams would just run it down the throat last year. And now we're under the situation that you know what you've got. If you can stop the run, get the defense off the field, and put your offense on the field and do it back the other way, I think that's going to pay dividends for the Strasburg Tigers team. They know what they got to do.
Welcome back in with Two-A-Days with Big Z Sports. Joe Geckler, I'm here with Strasburg first-year head coach Blake Campbell. Coach, thanks so much for taking time out of your practice today and getting those Tigers ready for the season. And, welcome to Big Z Sports. Thanks so much. And talk to us about Blake Campbell as the coach and a little bit of your background.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I am – thanks. First-year head coach here at Strasburg. Excited to be here. I've been defense coordinator at Talmadge, at Revere, assistant coach at Lake and Canton McKinley, and then over in Illinois before we moved here. So first year here, and just excited to get started and have everybody on board. We got a lot of young kids coming, and we're just really getting into it now. So we've got a lot of guys coming out fresh and new who have not played before or didn't play in the past few years. So a lot of learning and just getting people ready.
With all that coaching experience, Coach, you don't look that old. I mean, you might have started coaching when you were like 15,
I'm 39. I'm old enough.
And then as we get here, watching you practice a little bit, got a nice set of numbers out this year for the Tigers. Talk to us about your team and how you feel after the first week.
Feeling pretty good. We had a little bit of a hiccup there where we were concerned with our numbers. So we went out and went to the streets. We sent the kids out and started talking to community members, friends, players who've played before, or players on other teams. And right now we're sitting right about 22 to 25, depending on availability and work issues and things like that have been our biggest setback. Getting guys, a lot of guys have jobs, full-time jobs, not
Sure.
working at the mall for Annie Ann's pretzels. They're
Sure.
working in some factories,
Sure.
farms, things like that. So working around those schedules has been a difficulty for us, but we're trying to do the best we can. And then we've got, a small town school. We've got a lot of dual sport players. So we've got guys who are here, 2 hours here, then 2 hours at golf, or 2 hours here, 2 hours at band. And we're trying to do the best we can to make sure everybody can enjoy their passions, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's, baseball, work, golf, all of the things we have here. So we got to share the athletes when we're here, and we're trying to make that the best we can. So excited about the numbers today. As you can see, we got, I believe, 21 right now, with several still out on vacation and out. So we should be closer to 26, 27 by the time it's all done.
Yeah, it's great to see programs, sharing the athletes, especially when you have smaller programs, smaller schools. Strasburg's a Division 7, so you're going to have a small base to pick from, and you've got basketball players, you've got football players, you've got baseball players, you've got all kinds of athletes in your school.
Yeah.
It's really awesome to see those sports sharing the athletes, and you get to know those kids because you're going to see them in the fall on the football field. Then you're going to see them on the basketball court. Then you're going to see them on the baseball diamond or running track. It's really cool to see these small communities come together, and you get to know the kids that maybe be your better athletes. And that's what happens. So let's look at last season, Coach. Obviously, you weren't here. You took over for Curtis Metzger. Metzger, as he stepped away from the program after 4 years, but they were 1-8 last year, 0-4 in the IVC. A couple games on the schedule from last year: Waterloo, Caldwell, Conotton Valley. You also have a couple new opponents in the first part of the year: Rittman, and of course at Garraway, week number 5 as the IVC crossover game. Talk about your first half of the schedule.
Well, we're excited about the first half of the schedule. We feel like we can be very competitive in that first half, and we know Rittman is dealing with a new coaching staff as well, so we're going to be finding out what we're up against there probably at kickoff. That's one of those things where we have a new system, they may have a new system with a new coach, and not a lot of history there for us to go off of, but we're going to come out and compete there. Waterloo, familiar with them from my time. My youngest 2 sons actually played baseball for Waterloo a few years ago, so we're familiar with the Waterloo community. And then Caldwell, we know they got some big boys, so we're ready for a fight come Caldwell. Conotton Valley, great facilities. Hall of Fame coach. They got everything you want, so we're excited to see how we stack up there. And then Garraway, of course, we know the class of the IVC as far as we're concerned, so that one's going to be the biggest challenge on the schedule for us.
And then the second half of the schedule, you get into the IVC North. You're at Malvern, East Canton, at Buckeye Trail, at Newcomerstown, and you finish off here with TCC, the rivalry game, Week 10, here at Roundhurst Field. So the back half of the schedule, always your conference opponents.
Yeah, I mean, we know we're going to have again, a very competitive second half of the schedule. Malvern has a lot of great athletes. East Canton's got a lot of great athletes. Buckeye Trail, Newcomerstown, and TCC, obviously the guys are very excited to play those games and get the rivalry going with who they consider, I've been told TCC's the one they want. So that's the one we're shooting for certain. And sorry, my son's trying to jump
that's
in
okay.
here.
He wants to be
he
wants to be on camera too. Yep.
Yeah.
And then if you like you said, the IVC North always a challenge. There's some great competition there as well. But last year offensively, you guys 18.4 points a game. You averaged almost 108 yards on the ground, 112 yards through the air, 9 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Talk to us about some kids to watch for on your offense this year.
Offensively, we've got Parker Edwards and Derek Rissler returning as wideouts. We're very excited about all of them. Caden Thomas didn't play as much at wideout last year, but we have high expectations for him. He's a very quick, shifty slot receiver, so we're excited for what he brings to the table. Matthew Cox at running back is going to return, and he's going to be our workhorse, so we're excited to get him the ball and see what Matt can do. He's in great shape and a good kid. And then our new freshman quarterback, Gage Moore, is
the big
turning
kid.
Heads. Yes, he is. So we're very excited for Gage and think the sky's the limit for him over the next 4 years. So very excited about the potential we have there.
And obviously on the offensive line, Drake Reifenschneider, the center, is going to kind of anchor that offensive line for you.
Drake is going to be left tackle.
Left tackle?
He will not. Okay. Yes, he will not be the center this year. Drake is a big boy and a very good offensive lineman. We're extremely excited to have him.
Got to protect that blind side, right?
We have the Mets boys lining up as interior linemen, Max at center and Mike at guard. And then Alex Burkett is in the mix for either a right tackle or tight end position. He's a very athletic lineman. Me being a former tight end in college, I want him to play tight end. Like, I want him to be that guy, but we have to make sure we shore up our offensive line as the line coach. That's obviously my top priority, is making sure the big boys are keeping everybody clean. So we're trying to find a couple pieces to plug in there to make that work. So we've got some young guys in Dylan Gehring, and between he and some of the new guys who are coming out, we're we're looking good. We want to make sure we got the best combination there to keep Gage and Matt ready to go.
Absolutely. Now let's flip over to the other side of the football on defense. You guys gave up 36 points a game, 208 yards on the ground, and 120 yards through the air. You had 5 interceptions, 12 fumble recoveries. How's defense shaking up after the first week of practice?
Defensively, we're coming along. I mean, our goal obviously is to increase all those turnover numbers first and foremost.
Sure.
We preach, I've always preached aim. We want to play with aggression, intensity, and create mayhem. That's to me, the mayhem stands for sacks and turnovers. We're going to be aggressive. We're not going to sit back and let the receivers catch the ball and then make tackles after the fact. We're going to play that ball and try to get it for our offense. So turnovers are our first key, and with that reduces the overall scoring. So if we're taking the ball away from you, you can't score with it. So that's that 36 points per game. Is that what it was? 36?
Yep, 36.1.
We're going to take that down. So that's coming down. It will not be 36.1. At least 36.0.
It'll be lower.
The number's coming down, yeah. So we're going to give up fewer points, increase the turnovers, and put some pressure on our opposing quarterbacks.
Well, Coach, obviously your first year, a lot of our coaches in the area always have a motto. You come out with day one or even in the summertime or right after the season. Obviously you came in a little later to the game than the rest of the coaches in the area. But you come in and day one, what's the motto for Coach Blake Campbell and the Tigers?
Be the change. That's what we're going with. We want everyone to be part of the reason we turned this program around. We got great kids. We've got a great community that supports us, and we're looking forward to changing the expectations for what we've had in the past. 1-8, 1-9, 2-8. It's not enough. There's no reason for us to settle and be okay with that. So we're not going to settle with past performance. We are going to be the change in changing this program's projection from here on out.
Absolutely. Well, that's Coach Blake Campbell joining us here on our Big Z Sports 2 Days. Coach, thanks so much for taking time and talking with us. It's great to meet you finally, and you'll be hearing a lot from Big Z Sports over the next several years and a lot this season. Good luck to you, and we look forward to talking to you again real soon down the road.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's Blake Campbell, the head coach of the Strasburg Tigers. Big thanks to Blake Campbell, the new head coach for the Strasburg Tigers, to join us here on our two-a-day segment. Again, thanks to Morden Edenthal, Certified Public Accountants, where it's all about the relationships here at Strasburg. Coach had some good things to say. Be the change is what he's preaching here this training camp.
Yeah, you want to be the change. And look, Coach is all about this team. He's all in. And what he wants is he wants the community to be all in. This Strasburg community supports its athletes, supports its programs, and that's all Coach wants, is to see that team support, that community support out here in these stands at Ron Hurst Field this year.
Yeah, they get it started on week number 1. They have the Rittman Indians here at Ron Hurst Field, and then they travel to Waterloo in week 2, 3 of the 4 at home. To start off the season. Be a good season for the Strasburg Tigers. Anxious to see what they can do on the field. Big thanks again to everybody here at Strasburg. My main man, Chris Kale, Adam Soweski behind the camera today, and of course, Claxon Communications for all the editing and putting the videos and two-a-day segments up for us on our social media accounts. Again, big thanks to Blake Campbell, the head coach for the Tigers, to let us come out here, talk about his team, watch practice for a little bit. Going to be a lot of good things coming out of Strasburg this coming season. For Chris Kale and Adam Soweski, I'm Joe Geckler. We'll see you at our next two-a-days. So long.